Let's talk about knockoff minifigures. When I was a boy, I purchased a lot of what I thought were real LEGO minifigures off the internet. When they arrived, I quickly realized that they were knockoffs, and I've had an aversion for fake LEGOs ever since. That is until recently, when I decided to explore things like AliExpress, Temu, stuff like that, and I've come to discover knockoff figures are kind of sick. So I just want to show you guys what I've got recently. Take a look at this Galactus here. He's got two head prints and an amazing sculpt for that helmet. The paint is beautiful, the colors, that beautiful purple shine, and the print quality is so much better than I was ever expecting from something like this. So I bought more. I bought a lot more. I want to start with this Magneto as a comparison to the official Magneto, one of them, that LEGO released in 2014. Obviously, these are two very different versions of the character. This is from Days of Future Past, or maybe Apocalypse. I think this is Apocalypse, actually, if I remember correctly. But you can just see the difference in quality here. Obviously, LEGO's quality is better, but this still stands pretty well on its own. I'm kind of a fan of this. So anyone who's a fan of the LEGO Marvel Superheroes video game will know that there are a lot of characters in that game that LEGO just never made. So we've got to make do, right? Let's start off with this Colossus. This is pretty much a one-to-one recreation of his model in game, and it's pretty sick. I mean, it's cheap, but it's not bad in terms of quality. Next up, we got a comic accurate Electro. Now, for some reason, LEGO has just never made this figure. They've made Electro before, but it's always been movie designs or his ultimate design. They've never made his comic accurate look, which is why I love this figure so much. That mold for the helmet is so sick. The print quality is not bad, and the design, the art style, is pretty accurate to the rest of the LEGO minifigures. So this goes straight into my Spider-Man display. The other thing that goes into my Spider-Man display is this Big Fig Kingpin. Now, the paint quality is not great. The plastic quality is also kind of cheap. But when we mix him with the official LEGO Daredevil, as well as this knockoff Elektra and a knockoff Bullseye, we've got a pretty cool group of characters. While we're on the Big Fig train, let's just go over this Clayface here. Now, LEGO has never made a Clayface minifigure or a big figure. All of their Clayfaces have been brick built, which I'm not a huge fan of, right? In my Arkham Asylum display, I want a figure of Clayface to have with my other minifigures. So this is the best I got, right? I think it looks fine enough in the display with my other figures, and I think actually with a paint job, if I were to go in and paint this a lighter shade of brown, maybe a little bit more orange, that this could be a pretty nice figure. But overall, I don't mind it. We've also got Juggernaut. Now this one's rough, right? This one's pretty cheap. The skin tone is inconsistent between the face and the arms, and the paint quality is just really cheap. We've also got Rhino. Now, Rhino's an interesting one. I think this is pretty accurate to his look in the game, but again, super cheap plastic quality. It doesn't look that great, and there's one really strange thing about this specific figure. There's something inside of him, inside of his body, that I can't get out. It's just loose in there. So he makes some noise when you move him around. But not all figures are great, right? Let's compare a classic blue and gray Batman to a knockoff blue and gray Batman from AliExpress. First of all, the print quality difference is insane, right? LEGO has this very simple, beautiful art style, very streamlined, easy on the eyes. This LEGO Batman I would describe this as anything other than easy on the eyes. This thing is an eyesore if I've ever seen one. The cape is hard plastic. He can't move his head. He can't even move his arms because he's got these gauntlets on. And the print quality is just so overly detailed and strange. And I know I was just praising this Galactus for its overly detailed, strange paint job. But in my opinion, it works far better than something like this does. There's another figure here who's very detailed. And I can't tell if I like it, if I'm being completely honest. It comes with a kind of cool glider piece that does not look like Lego in the slightest. And neither does the rest of the figure. Like, this thing just does not match the Lego art style. The face print is actually not bad. I don't mind it. I will say I love the color. I wish Lego had made their Green Goblin in this color. And the printing is not bad. The print quality is not bad. So I kind of like this Green Goblin figure. Now let's compare it to this knockoff Green Lantern. We can actually compare it to this real Green Lantern that we've got. So the knockoff has dual molded legs and arm printing. But something about it just looks so strange in comparison to the real one. The color differences between his torso and his arms are strange. The paint looks cheap, and the print job looks pretty rough. We've also got an Insomniac Spider-Man here, which I gotta say, I like this figure. And he is a staple in my Spider-Verse display. In my opinion, you can't even tell that this is a knockoff at first glance. Now, you start seeing some of this crazy back leg printing and you think, okay, side torso printing, that's kind of strange, right? Lego doesn't ever do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of this. We got a lot more in terms of crazy figures here. We've got an insane evil Doctor Strange figure. Back to what I was saying about cluttered designs and overcomplicated eyesores. This falls into that territory, in my opinion. Just too much going on. Visual clutter. It's hard to even know what I'm looking at. Now we've got Kang and Owlman. Same kind of things. Again, the print quality on some of these is really not bad. Like, I don't mind them. I just feel like they don't fit with Lego. And maybe they're not trying to be. They're not trying to look like official Lego, which I can appreciate. There's something very strange about almost all of these figures. It's like uncanny. It's the uncanny valley effect. You look at it, and you just kind of know they're not Lego, but you're not quite sure why. Let's take a look at this Human Torch. This one's interesting. You know what? Because he's transparent, I had him backwards, and I didn't even realize. I thought that was his face. There's his face. Visual clutter, again. They gave us a lot of these strange little attachments. He's got holes in his arms where you can put flame pieces. And overall, it's just too much. Too much going on. I don't need my Human Torch to look like he's actually on fire. But this is still an interesting figure nonetheless. I don't mind it. Here we've got Absolute Superman. Now this one, I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'm biased because I like the comics. I'm a fan of this figure. I think the hairpiece is pretty sick. I like the laser eyes. I don't love the cape, right? I would maybe replace that with a cloth cape. But overall, this is kind of sick. The printing, again, is not bad. And the quality on this one is not bad overall. Next up, we've got the Batman Who Laughs. Now, this is an interesting one. Again, this guy cannot move. He can't move his head because of this cape. He can't move his arms because of the cape. He can't really do anything. But as a display piece, it's kind of sick, right? The print quality is not bad. Let's take a look at the head. The head is scary as shit, but I feel like that's kind of the point. But yeah, I don't know. That's not a bad one. Now, this one's kind of a niche one. We've got Ash from the Evil Dead. One of my favorite movie trilogies of all time. He's got the Necronomicon in his hand, which actually includes printing. I mean, come on, they didn't have to do that. He's got his chainsaw. And yeah, I'm a fan of this overall. I think this is a nice figure and a cool one to have on display. Two very interesting ones. We've got two different versions of Hellbat. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what Hellbat is. I don't know if it's from the comics. I assume it is. But these look very different from each other. Let's look at this one first. This one almost gives me Batman Beyond vibes. Super armored look. These pieces are detachable. You can see his arm printing, but I actually kind of like these shoulder spikes. Right? That's kind of sick. But again, this has crossed the line into not even looking like Lego. Might as well just make a statue at this point, because it can't move. You can't really do anything with it, but it looks interesting on display. With this other Hellbat, it has almost the opposite problem, right? You can kind of move this one, but its fragility is insane, right? The second you move something, these wings pop off, or these wrist guards, whatever they are, pop off. He's got another figure with a plastic cape, but I gotta say, this head mold is so sick. I love this helmet. We can take it off and show the face print here, which doesn't really match Lego standards, but it's covered by the helmet regardless. Anyways, I don't hate these figures on their own. I just think trying to pass them off as Lego or trying to have them with your Lego collection is going to look a little bit strange. Alright, we got a couple more here. We got another big fig. We've got Kilowog. Now, I'm not going to lie, I like this a lot. Lego is never going to make a Kilowog big fig. I mean, if they do, I will eat my words and I'll, do some crazy shit. But Lego will never make a Kilowog big fig. So putting him with my Green Lantern looks kind of sick. Whoever the manufacturer is for this figure clearly just used the body of Cull Obsidian from the Infinity War wave of sets. And I'm not going to lie, it doesn't really matter to me. I think it was a smart move. And it looks pretty good on its own. We've got a couple of other lanterns now to put it with. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, so I wanted to get as many as I could. And here we've got St. Walker the Blue Lantern. Again, huge fan of this design. I don't even know where this head is from, but that sculpt is really nice. Kind of reminds me of that guy from, I think it's Dragon Ball Z. I don't know anime too well, but that's what that reminds me of. He's got nice dual molded legs, some good printing. I'm a huge fan of this. Our last lantern, from one of my favorite comic books ever, Blackest Night, we've got Black Hand. Now, the print quality on this one, I'm not going to lie, pretty cheap. This one's rough, right? I think this uses the Flash helmet from the 2017 Justice League sets. Let's take a look at the face. Just a blank stare here. Not really trying to fit into any Lego style. This one's just pretty rough overall. The plastic quality, you can feel it in your hands. It's noticeably cheaper than an official Lego figure. But again, he looks kind of cool on display with my Green Lanterns. And I really doubt Lego will ever make these other lanterns, because all they want to make right now is Batmobiles. And that's not the point of this video, but it just makes me so upset. Got a couple more figures here. Okay, we've got Infinity Ultron from What If. And I gotta say, I'm a pretty big fan of this figure. I watched season 1 of this show when it came out. I thought this was an interesting character. Let's take a look at the face print. That's rough. It's like they Kirkified Vision. But overall, this is not a bad figure. The cape has some nice printing on it. I mean, I'm a fan of this. Now we got Spawn, one of the last figures of the video. The quality of this cape is awful. It's like tissue paper. The print quality and the plastic quality is also kind of rough. But again, if you want a Spawn figure, I mean, Lego's never going to make fucking Lego Spawn, right? So this is kind of what we got to work with, right? We've got Cable. I don't know if Lego will ever make a Cable figure. They seem to be making more X-Men stuff, so I could see them making him down the line, but For now, we've got this cable figure. Again, so over-designed to the point that it's ugly. Right? They didn't have to make the muscles so defined. Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of this overall. I think it's kind of ugly. So here they are, the knockoff figures all together, and I realized I've missed the most important one, and probably my favorite knockoff figure that I bought. And that is this Silver Surfer figure. This one's interesting. He comes with 2 bent legs and 2 straight legs, so you can swap them out however you want. And his arms actually move out. So the range of motion of these arms is far more than a normal LEGO minifigure, which is kind of interesting. They've got a ball joint in the shoulder rather than just the swivel joint of a normal LEGO minifigure, meaning this Silver Surfer can have his arms extended to the side, which is kind of sick. And this one also fits pretty well within my LEGO Marvel display, as it has that kind of classic LEGO Marvel superheroes look to it. But yeah, that's about it. So overall, I think that knockoff figures are not that bad anymore. I think, you know, if you want a classic Electro, you've got some good options. If you want a classic Electra, you've got some good options. Or Bullseye, you know? I think when we start getting into territory like this, things start getting weird. But overall, I mean, I'm pleased with this. And the important thing to remember is your LEGO collection is your LEGO collection, right? You can do whatever you want with it. I personally don't want to mix knockoffs with my official figures, but I also kind of like having these as kind of their own separate thing. There is a charm to some of these. Like, you can tell whoever makes these and distributes these really puts time and care and effort into them. So yeah, overall, I'm kind of pleased with these. Will I get more? Maybe. You know, if I find some in the future that I like, I could see myself getting a couple more of these. But yeah, my big thing with knockoff LEGO is that I never wanted to buy a knockoff of a figure that already exists, right? But for stuff like this Clayface that LEGO just refuses to make, I don't really mind getting a knockoff like this. And considering I paid $1 for it, I'm pleasantly surprised with how it looks. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, and be sure to drop this a like, and hit the subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of content. But yeah, that's about it.